It's up on the left there. So, with the sugar beets, some farmer planted sugar beets and then didn't have enough. Okay, I should probably have put a weight on the front of the tractor. That's kind of awesome. Actually doing we've got a withered crop and we're actually going to work that field anyway. Because that's not normal for regular play. I think whenever I've seen a withered crop, the base game just says, yeah, okay, what do you expect me to do about it? So is this 17 on the right? Yes. Kind of looks like the entrance to a field, except someone's put a ton of shrubs in the way. This is not going to take us long at all, especially when we look for this particular piece of equipment. The reason we have a cultivator is because playing seasons we are going to be using oilseed radish as one of our fertilizer states. Once you've got the oilseed radish in the ground and it's ready to pull, you need a cultivator to pull it. I don't feel like using a 4 meter wide subsoiler to plough in my oilseed radish. It's going to take too long. This, I think, is about a 6.7 meter cultivator. Its power requirements are within the range of a T6. So obviously doing not quite double, but we're definitely doing more than double the speed. Or we are definitely doing double the speed. The speed on a subsoiler is 7. We've got 16 coming out of this one. So we're doing about 4 times as fast as we could do this field with the subsoiler. I think a subsoiler does actually count as a cultivator for Jordan for contracts, but we don't have one. of the original ploughing with the regular plough, and I leased that because we only have to do the fields once, plough the fields once, unless we're going to plant corn. We don't have any equipment that lets us harvest corn at this time, or plant it for that matter. Now, in all likelihood, if I did plant corn on the old stream farm, I would probably use the tractor-mounted forager and take advantage of the on-farm silage clamps. We'd make money with silage. Getting on for about halfway. Oh. Can't turn the cultivator on or off. So I'm down, boys. A great demand at the barn. Well, that's awesome. Really doesn't matter what they're demanding because we don't have anything. We don't have to do the entirety of the field once it's mostly done. We'll get paid, it'll show it as done. It's still sunny and warm. So how are we doing? We are 59% done. Oh, this is the way we're supposed to come into this field. Okay. must admit, for many, many years I had big problems with reliability on Comcast. I mean, we're talking, your internet went down on Friday and didn't come back till Saturday. And at the time I was on call for the company I worked for, which means I needed a reliable internet connection. It didn't have to be particularly fast, but it did have to be particularly reliable. And we ended up going with AT&T's DSL, because while it wasn't as fast as cable in the time, it was almost 100% reliable. And when it did go down, it was literally just a case of, okay, shut down the modem, shut down the PC, restart everything, and let's see if it all starts up right. And most of the time that worked. Well, when we lived in California, and so to a certain extent in Texas, because the telephone switch unit was quite literally 100 yards from the house, we used to get a very fast speed from our DSL. Now, over the years, cable got faster, but I never really played that many really intensive internet games. Yeah, most of the time I would play a multiplayer online role-playing game, which isn't a great strain for a less than high-speed connection. But more recently we started at our current location with DSL, and it was adequate, but then they started getting incredibly and so we researched, plus I wanted to stream, and the slower speed of DSL just wasn't adequate for streaming. So we looked into local cable providers, and pretty much the only one is Comcast. However, we've had them now for, I'm guessing, about 2 years. No, more than 2 years. We've had them for quite a long time, and I haven't. The only interruption I had was 2. One was when we had a natural gas line installed to the house, and the guy running the tractor to bury the pipe for the natural gas severed the internet connection. And then a couple of months ago, the guy doing building our new deck was installing a new exit staircase from the deck, and he dug through the cable as well. So we're done. So those are the only 2 times we've actually lost internet. And I've never had a freeze-up problem with them. So I'm kind of happy with them now. Okay, that was doing something. Churning up dirt contract. Transporting, fertilizing, transporting. So it looks like most of the rest of the reliable contracts here are fertilizing. But how do we get out of here? Hello? How do we get out of here? Over there, I think. I'll go to there. Ooh. Oh, that's all trees too. There's a secret path through the trees. Nice. Anyway, so let's take him back to the yard. time now? Coming up on 3. So that's the horse yard we just passed on the right. Primary sell point that used to be the only sell point. And like I said, I should have installed a weight. Can't get off that wall. Okay. Ugh. So the front wheels once again go airborne. Okay, we're getting up the right road. So I do need to do a larger contract for grass to see if that works out. I think the problem with the smaller contracts is you end up producing so few bales that we produced enough on that one. But you produce so few that you really have to scrounge grass to get the extra bale. I must admit, I thought I'd got the extra bale there. Should not have been a fail. But with larger field contracts, you tend to end up with 2, 3, 4 bales, depending on the size of the field, left over after you've completed the contract. So that does result in you having a successful result more often than not. Okay, next time we use this cultivator, we're going to put the weight on the front. We'll do that now. Awesome little variable weight. Now there was one in 17 that you just had to press key to add and remove weights from it. This one you have to take it to the workshop in order to change the weight. Okay, do I have any fertilizer in there? That would be a big no. And that's behaving much better. Although we don't have much weight in the back of this thing at the moment. Hi Jeremy, the girls are gone. As of Wednesday last week, they no longer reside with us. family they are now with wants to adopt them. At least they do right now. Because that's how we felt when they first moved in, and I mean, it took about 4 months, 3-4 months, before we decided, no, this ain't gonna work. But we are currently in the process of cleaning up the house so we can move. Which was kind of a sudden decision, but we feel the correct one. Fertilizer. You will have one. Thank you. Okay, and we need a contract to use it on. So, what's a good price? That's a good price. That's a very good price. Yeah, that's the best price around. And last week we also made our application with... we're staying in the area, we just don't want to live in this house anymore. We're basically done fighting with the neighbour who wants to extort money from his neighbours to pay for his toys. It goes back to... he came round very friendly. I do a favour to everyone by doing snow removal and regrading the road every year. So he thought, oh, that's nice. And sort of, and I only charge everybody $25 each. So, okay, fine. Well, it just so happened, what field are we doing? 16. That he wasn't necessarily all that reliable. Oh, 16's that big one. Okay, that might have been the best. And there were times when... there were a couple of times when he would... it would be snow all night. He'd get up in the morning. He'd go off to work. Leave all of us trapped in our houses. And then come back at the end of the day and then move the snow. And... yeah, as foster parents, there were times when, well, we need to get the kids to school, so we need the snow moved. So we'd call our friend to move the snow. Nobody would pay us for it. But we found out that our friend charged 2/3 of what this guy was charging as a favour. And we thought, oh, well, that's interesting. So we put it to the street that we could get the snow removed for less than we were paying this guy. Yeah, our neighbour who was doing us a favour. And anyway, he went behind our back and basically told all the neighbours, oh, this proposal, it's complete garbage because the guy they're talking to isn't going to do a good job. Because nobody does a good job but me. Which is complete garbage as well. So they all came back and said, well, no, I know the guy you spoke to is cheaper, but he's... yeah, we'd prefer to stay with the guy who's currently doing it. Yeah, the neighbour who's doing us all a favour by ripping us all off. So, okay, fair enough. Now, as I said, he also grades the road. And he does that 2 times a year and charges us $25 for driving around the yard, or driving around the street. So that's also a case of, well, yeah, okay, whatever. Start from the top edge. And He's been doing that for 10 years now in a tiny little tractor that's good for shifting the dirt around, but the road itself has been getting more and more potholed as time goes by, and his tractor is not capable of fixing the holes now. The holes now are in a state where what am I doing here? Unfold. What's unfold? That's unfold. The road is now in a state where he's been doing this for 10 years. I blew that, didn't I? Let's fold it back up again. And it really needs a professional repair, or at least heavy equipment to repair it. So we told him this, yeah. But anyway, he sent out a demand for buying sand. He bought 2 ton of sand and basically spread it over the road. Said everyone owes me $65 for doing it. Well, that was his normal $25 each for driving his tractor around the street for a day, and the cost of the sand. So we said, okay, fine, we'll pay it, because we're done arguing with the dude. And so he fixed the road, and about 3 weeks later the holes were back because he'd just put sand in it. So anyway, 6 months later, this year, he comes out and he says, okay, I want $120 from everyone because I'm going to order 4 ton of sand and fix the road. And at that point we said, no, you did it. You tried, you failed. We're not going to we're not going to give you more money to do exactly the same thing you did last year, which didn't work. This needs a professional to do. So we spent a month or so calling around all the professional road repair companies in the area, and eventually we got a quote for $150 each to regrade the entire road professionally. So we went out to, we sent a letter to the neighbours and said basically, this is the work we believe needs to be done, and $150 each, we'll see it done, and it'll tear up the holes in the road, which is what needs to happen. So we tell him that, and the next day he comes out and he sends a message to everyone saying, okay, I'll get 6 ton of sand for $212. I'll drive around the road and repair all the holes. And everybody basically said, oh, we don't want to have the road regraded by professionals. We prefer to have this complete amateur do exactly what he did last year with 3 times as much material, and that's what we're prepared to pay more for. I'm not arguing. I'm also not staying here because I don't want to pay for all his toys and his nice vacations every year. I mean, he has a new car every 2 years. He has 2 cars, so alternate. He has a toy tractor, which when he first moved in, we sort of argued about how much he charged. He said, well, I've got to cover the cost of my tractor. I'm pretty sure it's got to cover the cost of the payments on his tractor, but whatever. But we like to budget and know where our money's going, and when he can turn up and just say, hey, everybody needs to pay me $65 because I'm doing something to the road, I'm done with that. And I'm not arguing with stupid neighbours who think getting an amateur to do the work a professional does for 50% more than the professional's charging is a good use of my money. But he's already threatened to, he took one of the neighbours, he He threatened to put a lien on their home when they didn't pay the bill that he demanded. So, fascist neighbours are fascist. And I'm done. After the kids being in the house, and that being a complete stress overload, and then this guy comes out pretty much a week later and pulls all his crap. Sort of, yeah, I prefer the no stress approach. Now, okay, moving home is going to be stressful, and I'll admit that, but moving home is stressful for a month. It's not stressful for the next 5 years that we live here. So short-term stress is going to increase. Long-term stress, we're not going to have any. Well, we're not going to have any caused by this joker. So that's why we're moving. And at this point, the likelihood is we'll move twice. We're going to move into a small trailer park for temporary, because this is very short notice, and the housing market is pretty much dead here. If somebody wants to buy we're in a seller's market. You know, people who are selling, there are more houses than people who want to buy. Oops. So, sorry, no, there are fewer sellers than people who want to buy. So house prices are kind of expensive, plus there's not a lot of inventory. So we're kind of looking at it and saying, well, there's nothing currently out there that we like the look of. And if we sell this house, move into a rental for winter, at least that way we won't have to play Little Hitler every time it snows, which is a bonus. And we'll be back on the market looking for houses in spring, and hopefully there will be more choices then. And if there's more choices, they'll be cheaper, because there will be more houses than people who want to buy them. I missed a bit to the left there, but I am actually more aligned with the crop rows now. Okay, there's a tree there. How are we doing? 70% done. But no, the girls didn't trash the house that bad. In fact, the house is looking better than it's looked in years. But also, we basically don't have a leg to stand on with the neighbours, because he's been spreading lies about us behind our backs. And in fact, when we were going around talking to them about the snow removal, one of them basically just said, "You're a bully and we don't deal with bullies." So, oh well, thank you very much. And who told you I'm a bully? Because this was the first time I'd actually spoken to her. But Yeah. She basically had decided before she'd even met me, I'm a horrible person, I'm a bully, and she doesn't want anything to do with me. So, whatever. So we know he's been talking about us behind our backs. And I'm sure there was communication between him and the rest of the neighbours about the regrading. And he was trying to protect his little empire and basically spread some lie about us. So I'm just not doing with that. Which more we got? 96. I can just go from here. For the message. There it is. So, we just got paid for that. That's 1,300, that's 1,400. Oh, that's 2,400. Okay, field 19 on our way back to the yard. Where is 19? 15, 19. Okay, so if we go down there, yeah, we'll go down there, and we'll take that road to there. That'll take us to 19.